This program contains graphic content and sexual situations. Viewer discretion is advised. In 2007, the nation is stunned as the life and career of a wholesome all-American astronaut plummets into bizarre terrain.
I had to determine whether this was a one-time loss of common sense or whether there was something seriously wrong with this woman.
NASA's image is tarnished when she becomes the first active-duty astronaut charged with a felony.
This was a love triangle gone bizarre.
People were shocked that an astronaut would do something like this. She was revered, and yet she had this horrible fall from grace to do something this horrendous for a man? Really?
Entangled in a love triangle, she comes up with a strange scheme to confront her romantic rival.
She was willing to do anything necessary to get what she wanted.
And when an embarrassing detail is leaked, the media frenzy spins out of orbit.
Somehow this story involved an astronaut, pepper spray, and weirdly enough, diapers. That's when this story blew up.
I was the circuit judge that was assigned to the case, and there were some very unhappy people with my decisions.
Meet Lisa Nowak, AKA the Diaper Astronaut, an overachieving role model who soared among the stars until scandal made her famous. When the news broke that a diaper-wearing astronaut attacked a romantic rival, the media had a field day. Nightly news coverage, newspaper headlines, magazine covers, and even late-night TV jumped on the subject.
Late-night TV hosts ate this story up. Jimmy Kimmel even joked that he would marry a woman who would wear diapers so he wouldn't have to pull over for her to go to the bathroom.
The public was perplexed why this seemingly normal wife and mother would engage in such odd behavior.
They profiled this case on ABC's 2020. And on NBC's 30 Rock, Tina Fey joked about driving from Houston to Orlando in less than 9 hours.
While the story of a woman driving cross-country in diapers was fodder for jokes, what lied beneath was something far more sinister.
Lisa said that she just wanted to scare her into talking to her.
Can you help me, please? My boyfriend...
But you had to wonder, why did she have all sorts of devices that she could have used to actually torture her?
But what drove this American hero to such a desperate act? Lisa Marie Caputo grows up the oldest of 3 girls in Rockville, Maryland.
Lisa had a normal, middle-class upbringing in the suburbs of D.C. She was an excellent student as a child even, and she always, as long as she could remember, had a dream of becoming an astronaut.
On the evening of July 20th, 1969, it's reported that Lisa, like most Americans, is witnessing history.
Houston, Roger, we copy, and we're standing by for your TV. Okay.
Daddy, can you believe this?
Isn't that amazing?
Lisa would have been approximately 5 years old at the time of the Apollo 11 moon landing. I would imagine she, along with people from around the country and around the world, were just transfixed to their TVs watching the first 2 people, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, walking on the moon.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I'm gonna become an astronaut one day.
I hope you do, sweetie. Hope you do.
It would not surprise me at all that Lisa would have wanted to be an astronaut watching that footage.
Beautiful view. Isn't that something?
But at this point in time, space travel is strictly male-dominated.
How do you think astronauts eat apples in space?
I don't know. Why do you ask?
Because I'm gonna be an astronaut.
Oh, sweetie, you're not still holding on to that, are you? You can't be an astronaut. There are no women astronauts.
I would expect Lisa to be competitive and driven throughout her school years. In order for anyone to become an astronaut, being competitive is sort of It's part of the package. It's what's expected. It's what's required.
The fact that there'd never been a woman astronaut, that didn't bother her. She still was convinced that she could do it.
Lisa's studious nature pays off, and by the time she graduates from high school in 1981, she already has her sights set on her next goal.
Lisa knew that if she wanted to become an astronaut one day, the only option for her had to be the U.S. Naval Academy. Coming from the outside in was much more difficult than coming in from one of the services, so she chose the Naval Academy.
Lisa is accepted into the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, but life there isn't easy.
The first-year experience in the Naval Academy is a tough thing for anybody. A plebe goes through all sorts of basic humiliation.
Attention on deck!
All freshmen at Annapolis are addressed as plebes.
Don't eyeball me.
Sir, yes, sir.
What?
Sir, yes, sir.
They are forced to be polite and say, sir, even when they're being yelled at.
Name?
Cadet Caputo, sir.
You're not even a cadet, you're a plebe.
Sir, yes, sir.
I really don't think a lot of people could take that level of humiliation and think it's worthwhile.
Do you really think you have what it takes to be in my Navy?
Sir, yes, sir.
Is this rack ready for my inspection?
Sir, yes, sir.
The treatment of the freshmen is an attempt to weed out anyone who isn't mentally and physically tough enough to make it through the program.
The first year at the academy is pure hell. Cadets are screamed at. Their rooms are torn apart. They're questioned nonstop. It's not for the faint of heart.
Not good enough. Work harder.
Sir, yes, sir.
Although life at the academy is difficult, Lisa works hard, and by 1982, she is no longer a plebe, but a midshipman. While at the academy, Lisa meets fellow cadet and aerospace engineering major Richard Nowak, and the two begin dating.
Class of '85, congratulations on making it this far.
On May 22, 1985, both Lisa and Richard graduate from midshipmen to officers.
I welcome you to the finest service in the world, the United States Navy. Proceed!
This was a huge moment for Lisa. She was now an officer in the U.S. Navy with a degree in aerospace engineering.
After graduation, Lisa takes a 6-month position at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
For someone who wants to be an astronaut, being stationed at Johnson Space Center would be ideal. That's where most of the astronaut training takes place. I would be certain that Lisa was hooked on the promise of spaceflight.
In November 1985, Lisa is reunited with Richard when she reports to the U.S. Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida, where he's based.
So good to see you.
She's not just there for a reunion, but to attend flight school, something that is relatively unique for a woman at that time.
There were men who didn't make it into flight school who severely resented it, that any women were allowed, but Lisa persevered. And plus, the regimen for flight school was, if anything, even more rigorous than the academy was. It was a non-stop kind of thing to do to go to flight school. Very, very demanding.
On the morning of January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger is ready for liftoff, and it's carrying 2 women.
That was a double historic moment.
On board the Challenger that morning was mission specialist Judith Resnick, and also Krista McAuliffe, who was going to be the first teacher to travel into space. It was a huge media event.
Tragically, the Space Shuttle Challenger is about to make an unintended mark on the history of spaceflight.
Cleared the tower. Challenger, go at throttle up. Challenger, go at throttle up.
The nation watches the explosion in horror. It will mark the second time in history that U.S. astronauts' lives are lost in the line of duty. It's a major setback for the space program.
Flight controllers here
looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
And I watched the rocket go up. Then all of a sudden I saw it go in all different directions. And I had seen many rockets go up because we could see a lot of them from here in Orlando. And I knew immediately there was a problem. And then of course I heard it on the news seconds later that it had blown up. But I have to tell you, I think that affected me somewhat. I was very saddened by that, by the loss of those lives.
Despite the risks in light of the Challenger disaster, Lisa presses forward with her flight training. And in June of 1987, she earns her wings and becomes a naval aviator.
Congratulations on achieving your wings of gold, Lieutenant Caputo.
This is considered a huge achievement for a woman in the 80s, and yet another step on Lisa's path to space.
Lisa earns her coveted wings, and she's transferred to California. Things are going really well for her, and her future looks very bright.
It's a pretty ring for a pretty girl.
Thank you.
I got good taste, huh?
In April of 1988, Lisa and longtime love, Richard Nowak, get married.
What do you think now?
We could have some kids. Should we do that? Should we get started on that? Maybe.
In 1992, their son Alexander is born.
Lisa Nowak had to be the most driven woman I've ever encountered. She went through the academy, she went through flight school, she got 2 master's degrees, and then, to make her life even more complicated, she became a mother. It was truly an incredible accomplishment.
At this point, the couple are chasing their dreams, but Lisa's career is starting to surpass Richard's.
In 1995, NASA sends out an announcement that it is accepting new applicants for its astronaut program.
This was the moment that Lisa had been working towards since she was a little girl. But did she have the right stuff for the space program?
Lisa Nowak is working tirelessly, fueled by the desire to become one of the nation's few female astronauts. In early 1996, Lisa learns she's one of 150 applicants deemed highly qualified for the elite astronaut program.
Lisa Nowak was one of 44 candidates selected to become one of these astronauts. All of her achievements proved to be stepping stones to one of the most elite jobs in the world.
Lisa reports to Johnson Space Center in Houston to begin the demanding training required of shuttle crew members.
They put her under a lot of rigorous pressure. You'd go on flight simulation and they would make things go wrong on you. Sometimes there was no way they would not be fatal. You always wanted to survive, even those mock flights, because it felt like death, even if you survived.
While Lisa patiently waits for her moment in space, she becomes a mother again, this time to twin daughters, Katrina and Alyssa. On December 12, 2002, NASA makes the announcement that Lisa's been longing to hear since she was a child. As a mission specialist, she will be one of the chosen few to crew an upcoming mission on the Space Shuttle Columbia.
Lisa's closest friend, Laurel Clark, was also scheduled to go on the shuttle on an earlier mission. It seemed like a great time to be a woman in the space program.
On February 1st, 2003, Lisa, her son, and the rest of the world watches as the Space Shuttle Columbia is returning to Earth.
I don't see it.
Any moment now. We'll see it.
Lisa is eager to welcome her friend, Laurel, home.
What Lisa didn't know was that Mission Control had lost contact with Columbia at the top of the hour. And what the public saw were trails of debris across the sky.
Columbia disintegrates over Texas, killing all 7 crew members on board.
Lisa lost one of her best friends in the disaster, and that was devastating. It was also devastating because Lisa was supposed to go on that same shuttle that fall.
Mom, I still want you to go, and I know they'll make it safe again, and I still want you to go.
Dealing with the Columbia tragedy was very tough, especially on the astronauts in our parish. It was a loss of the family, you know, it really was. They were our brothers and sisters, and that's the best way I can explain it.
It was really tough for Lisa, and she was devastated. But she submerged that. She pushed it down and compartmentalized it into a far-off region.
I think if you saw your best friend get blown up like that, it would have to have in some way affected you mentally. It had to have had an emotional effect on her, which maybe she never recovered from.
There's the sadness of losing your coworkers and grieving. And at the same time, the show must go on.
The mounting stress from losing her closest friend takes a toll on Lisa's marriage. She and Rich are working opposite hours to take care of their children, and their relationship is crumbling.
Hey, how's work?
What do you think?
I don't know. That's why I asked. Also, can you please just move the bag? I just finished cleaning the house, trying to get the kids ready for school.
What's the big deal?
I'm really frustrated because I've asked you so many times to stop putting your bag there.
You know what
It's
I'm
not that hard.
frustrated? Can I tell you what I'm frustrated about? How about like a, hey, nice to see you, hun. Welcome home from work, hun. How about that?
You know what? Just, can you finish this? I gotta go to work.
In December 2003, Lisa becomes a crew finalist for an upcoming mission, and she must compete for one of 2 spots.
Astronauts have survival training, whether it's cold weather, there's hot weather training, there's underwater training. But if astronauts were to land on what would be considered, what NASA would consider an off-nominal location, instead of being on the runway at Kennedy Space Center or even the alternate runway in California, if they ended up in the Canadian wilderness or any other wilderness, they go through the training so that they can survive until they're rescued.
In January 2004, while on a survival training exercise in the Canadian wilderness, Lisa grows closer to one of her married colleagues, Bill O'Flynn.
Like most naval aviators, Bill O'Flynn had a cool nickname. He liked to be called Billy O.
It was 10 days of arduous hiking and survival training in the middle of freaking nowhere. And it was cold, and it was rough.
It might have been cold on the Canadian tundra, but things between Billy O and Lisa were starting to heat up.
With every day of that trek, they grew closer and closer. And by the time they returned back to their main base in Houston, they were romantically involved.
You know you're not supposed to be having an illicit affair with a fellow officer. That's a court-martial offense to commit adultery in the military.
In November 2004, Lisa is assigned as a mission specialist on an upcoming space shuttle flight.
Lisa was an overachiever, so of course she was chosen, and she managed to find time to carry on an affair with Billy O, to train for her mission, and to be a mom.
According to the book Out There, Billy O's wife finds out about his affair with Lisa.
She saw the emails back and forth between Billy O and Lisa, and she knew it was something much more. And she immediately filed for divorce. And Billy O moved into an apartment and gave Lisa the key.
So, that was fun, but where are you taking me?
Where do you want to go?
Lisa and Billy O would meet at his place, and she would start leaving personal effects there. But remember, Lisa was still married to Richard.
The Nowaks appear to be a happy family, attending church with their kids every week.
It was always good to see Lisa and Rich and the 3 kids always in the same pew every Sunday. Rich is quiet, But Rich would do a lot of things with the kids because Lisa was so busy in astronaut training.
In the spring of 2005, Lisa's shuttle crew travels to Cape Canaveral for training. Lisa tells her colleagues that she has a work-related detour to make.
Oh, are you guys going to Key West as well?
Key West? No, we're going back to Houston. Was someone going to Key West?
Yeah. Nowak and Ovaline just checked out a T-38 for a flight to Key West. It's supposed to be beautiful this time of year.
That's weird. Why would she lie?
Lisa and Billy O are headed to Key West. And all the while, they have no idea that everybody at work is starting to suspect that they're a couple.
Lisa reportedly loves Billy O, but a divorce may not look good for a female astronaut and role model.
For a while, Billy O was encouraging Lisa to leave her husband. He wanted to form a permanent relationship with her, and she kept rebuffing that. I mean, she continued their sexual relationship, but she just kept saying no to leaving her family for too long.
In July 2006, Lisa prepares for her first trip to space aboard the shuttle Discovery.
We're very, very excited, and especially for me on my first time. I can't wait to go.
At the Discovery launch of 2006, the astronauts' families were given crew quarters to stay in.
It is in these quarters where a colleague sees Lisa and Billy O together, which strikes him as odd. On the 4th of July, the Space Shuttle Discovery launches into space carrying Lisa Nowak. The mission is a complete success, and after traveling 220 miles above Earth and spending nearly 13 days on board the International Space Station, the Discovery crew returns as heroes.
Return to Earth was not friendly to her.
The instant fame took a lot of getting used to. And Lisa hadn't been a hands-on parent because she was busy training for her mission and also having an affair with Billy O. So now, getting back to regular life was an adjustment.
She'd achieved her dream, and it was almost tragic because all she wanted to do was go out one more time, but the program was coming to a close, and they had more astronauts than could possibly be used on all the missions.
Lisa's feet may have returned to Earth, but her head is still in the clouds, and now the astronaut must deal with real life once again. The married mother of 3 is in the throes of an affair and has to balance it all with a rigorous public appearance schedule.
Lisa would leave her mundane home life and attend events where she'd talk about this exciting space mission. As you can imagine, a female astronaut got a lot of media attention.
But behind her smile is a woman unsure of what the future holds for her career and her love life. Keeping up the charade is taking its toll.
Lisa seemed to have a bit of a chip on her shoulder, and she was prickly sometimes.
Because...
Overwhelmed, Lisa's behavior begins to affect her marriage.
I have done everything for you in your career, Lisa. We've moved, I've taken care of the kids, also you could live out your dream. Now that's happened, and it's my time.
Screw you. Seriously, screw you!
This was actually the first time in a long time that Lisa and Richard were home together. Before, they had worked opposite shifts, so the kids would always have someone at home. But now, Lisa was settling into a normal work routine.
With extra time on her hands, Lisa yearns to connect with her secret lover, Billy O. But the handsome astronaut has been preoccupied.
Hey, there she is. Hey, we're doing shots. Do you want one?
Sure, why not?
Billy O was a player. I mean, he was an aviator. He was like Top Gun. So the women couldn't get enough of him, and he couldn't get enough of the women.
Cheers.
Salud.
Oh. I'm Billy O.
Colleen Shipman.
Colleen. It's very nice to meet you.
Colleen was another high achiever.
So, what do you do?
I'm a captain in the Air Force. Oh. What about you?
Smoke jumper. Let's have another shot.
Okay.
She was head over heels for Billy O.
There you go.
Oh.
It's good stuff, right?
No.
It's hard not to be impressed with someone who goes home and they throw parades. I mean, really, who does that happen to?
On one of Colleen's visits, Billy O comes clean to her about his relationship with Lisa.
Colleen, I really like you, and I want to be open and honest with you. I've been in a relationship with someone for the past year and a half, but I've told her it's over.
Okay. Are you sure you made it clear to her that it's over between the two of you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's unclear whether Billy O really told Lisa that the affair was over. They did still communicate, but it was infrequently.
On December 9th, 2006, Bill O'Flynn pilots the space shuttle Discovery to the International Space Station.
Discovery lighting up the nighttime sky as we continue.
Billy O may have left the Earth, but he hadn't left Lisa's mind. She was glued to the coverage on TV.
As soon as the Discovery shuttle makes a safe landing, Billy O runs not into the arms of Lisa Nowak, but those of new love, Colleen. According to Diane Fanning's book, Out There, Lisa and Billy O have a brief conversation the night he returns.
Commander O'Flynn?
Billy, this is Lisa. Where are you?
And Lisa calls him numerous times over the following days.
Please leave me a message and I'll call you back.
Billy, it's Lisa. I've called you so many times and you have not called me back. Now I am freaking out. I don't know what we're doing anymore, but this is really ridiculous. I mean, what do you think I'm doing? Do you think I'm just waiting around for you? I feel like such an idiot. So just call me back. Just call me back! Just call me back.
And he never responded, which made it crystal clear that she was not his priority.
I think Billy just looked at their encounters as nothing but a sexual thing. He didn't see it as something deeper. And by the time Lisa decided that that's the way it had to be, Billy's heart had gone elsewhere. He'd sort of given up on something permanent and stable with Lisa. She was now just a fling.
Billy O must not have been that freaked out about Lisa's obsessive behavior because the two of them kept hanging out as friends. But how couldn't he have known that she wanted him all to herself?
Billy O even meets Colleen's family. However, he is allegedly still stringing Lisa Nowak along.
From the outside looking in at Billy O's behavior, it looked pretty cruel to Lisa. But Billy didn't quite get that part of it. It was gratifying to his ego.
While visiting Billy O, Colleen uses her new boyfriend's computer and makes an unsettling discovery.
Why is Lisa's email coming up on your computer?
She comes over here sometimes, and when she's here, she uses my computer.
I just want to make sure that you and your coworker have for sure ended things.
She's still a good friend, but she's happy for me that I've fallen in love and that I'm happy.
There's not going to be some crazy lady showing at my door trying to kill me?
No, she's not like that. She's okay with it.
Maybe for Billy O it was over, but it sure wasn't for Lisa Nowak.
In early 2007, Lisa and her husband, Rich, finally decide to separate. Lisa is laser-focused on moving forward, with Billy O by her side.
Lisa had only met Billy O's mother a couple of times, but then she wrote her a letter saying that she was no longer with Richard and she was looking forward to getting to know the family better. When Billy O got wind of that letter, he knew it was time for a serious conversation.
Sick of me.
Okay, you all right?
I need to talk to you about something. I've met this woman, and we've fallen in love. And it's getting serious, and we can't keep seeing each other the same way that we have been.
I don't think he wanted to do anything that was ugly, and he was trying to be gentle and let her down easy, and she didn't seem to be bothered by it because she was so good at suppressing her emotions.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for you. We can still be friends, right?
Of course, yeah. We still got that charity bike ride coming up, and we've both got to keep up our flight hours, so we're good.
I really think that, yeah, maybe he was a little coward for not coming right out and just laying it on the line. And boy, did he pay the price for that.
Keep in mind that Lisa was military. She had been trained how to compartmentalize things and not show emotion. But now she's alone for the first time in 20 years, and she's starting to unravel.
It is alleged that after Billy O breaks up with Lisa, she calls him nearly 70 times and sends him close to 40 text messages in 1 month alone.
Billy, it's Lisa. Can you call me? I really need to talk to you. I've had a really awful day, and I really need to hear your voice, so please call me back.
The more distant he becomes, the more desperate Lisa gets.
Probably feeling slighted and ignored, Lisa took her obsession to the next level, and she used a key to sneak into Billy O's apartment.
Lisa Nowak logs into Billy O's computer and becomes unhinged by what she finds.
We'll have to control myself when I see you. First urge will be to rip your clothes off, throw you on the ground, and love the hell out of you.
Lisa reads the emails between Billy and Colleen, and then she realizes Colleen had been in the picture longer than Lisa had thought.
I'm only sure of 2 things tonight. I love you, and I'm head over heels in love with you.
I need to see you. I'm having Colleen withdrawals. Must see Colleen.
Lisa finds Colleen's travel itinerary and discovers that she will soon be flying home to Orlando, Florida. Billy O and Colleen have no idea that Lisa is keeping tabs on their affair, and the two spend the weekend together in Houston.
Billy O was blissfully unaware that Lisa had snuck into his apartment, and Colleen Shipman was coming into town for a long weekend.
Since when do you ride a purple bike?
That's one of the teammates.
Which teammate?
Lisa.
Do you really think it's wise keeping that here after you've parted ways? It makes me very uncomfortable having that here, and makes me think that I should pull away from this relationship.
I'll get rid of the bike tomorrow. Okay? Consider it gone. I've made it very clear that we are just friends and teammates, nothing else. I love you.
Billy O told Lisa to come get her bike immediately. And this made Lisa angry and added gasoline to an already lit fire.
Now that Lisa knows Colleen will be traveling to Orlando, she plans to confront the woman who ripped Billy O from her heart. And she'll do so far from where Billy can intervene.
Lisa Nowak gambled everything she had on Billy O, and she lost. Billy O had moved on to someone else. And when she realized she couldn't get Billy O, her thought was, maybe I take this other person out of the picture.
Lisa packs in a frenzy and loads up her car for the 900-mile drive from Houston to Orlando.
Lisa was used to planning every detail of a space mission, and she treated this the exact same way. She was determined to get from Houston to Orlando without stopping. And her solution? Adult diapers.
On February 4th, 2006, Lisa hits the road and heads for Florida. A woman seemingly possessed, she drives nonstop for 9 hours.
Remember, the whole time that Lisa is on this long drive, she's wearing adult diapers.
She eventually stops at a motel in the Florida Panhandle and checks in under the assumed name of Linda Turner. After sleeping briefly, she heads out again.
Lisa traveled another 5.5 hours to Orlando, and she checked into a hotel. She put on a disguise and headed to the Orlando International Airport.
She has a black wig and a trench coat and a hat and sunglasses.
But what was she planning to do when she finally hunted down Colleen Shipman?
Colleen's flight lands after 1 a.m., and she heads down to baggage claim. Surveillance cameras will later reveal Lisa stalking her prey.
She spotted Colleen, and she's following her around while Colleen's there waiting for her luggage.
After picking up her luggage, Colleen heads to the parking shuttle.
Blue, section B.
Lisa was kind of outrageous looking.
Lisa's disguise had the opposite effect of what she was going for, and people on the shuttle, including Colleen Shipman, were gawking at her.
She did catch Colleen's attention, and Colleen was looking at the shoes she was wearing and the rolled up jean cuffs and going, man, this woman needs a fashion consultant. She didn't start to get concerned until she realized the crazy woman was following her into the parking lot. And when she started walking faster to get to her car, that woman started running.
In a panic, Colleen opens her car door, throws her suitcase inside, and slides behind the steering wheel. At that moment, Lisa grabs the door handle.
Can you help me, please? My boyfriend was supposed to pick me up and it's late. Can you take me to the parking office?
No, I'm sorry, I can
No,
call
please
someone
roll
for
down
you.
your car window. I can't hear you. Please roll down your window.
Astronaut Lisa Nowak attacks Colleen Shipman, her romantic rival, with pepper spray.
It seemed like if she scared Colleen enough, Colleen would drop Billy O like yesterday's newspaper. Then she could have him to herself.
Miraculously, Colleen manages to drive away and escape. Colleen stops at a nearby toll booth, tells the attendant what happened, and police arrive to investigate. Instead of fleeing the scene of the attack, Lisa calmly removes the dark wig and sunglasses and disposes of them before sitting down on a bus stop bench. Unbeknownst to Lisa, a police officer has seen her last few actions.
Can I see some ID, please?
While Lisa searches for her ID, the officer spots some suspicious items inside her bag, so he detains her.
Put your hands behind your back.
According to the book Out There by Diane Fanning, the officer grows even more suspicious when he notices Lisa trying to get into her bag.
Ma'am, leave the bag alone.
He opens the bag to investigate, and what he finds suggests a plan that is far more sinister than just an assault with pepper spray.
And packed in her bag were all sorts of equipment that she could use to bind her, to harm her in lots of ways. There was a CO2-powered BB pistol that could do serious damage.
At this point, the officer knew that he had the right person. Colleen Shipman identified her immediately. The police knew that they had uncovered a malicious plan. The most shocking thing, though, was the identity of the attacker.
What's your profession?
I work for NASA.
In what capacity?
I am an astronaut.
I got a call from a friend of mine at the Orlando Police Department who said, you need to get down here. There is an astronaut who has been arrested on attempted murder charges for a romantic rival. And I said, oh, okay, who is he? And my friend said, no, it's a she.
The detective questions Lisa as to why she attacked Colleen.
So at what point did you decide to pursue Miss Shipman?
Once I realized Bill was involved with her. I wasn't trying to cause bodily harm. I just wanted to scare her into talking to me.
So you thought you would do that with a hammer and a BB gun? You maced her in a parking lot.
I was trying to get her attention.
I would probably say you got her attention.
Detectives search Lisa's vehicle. What they find only raises more questions.
That is a dirty diaper.
Lisa initially told detectives that she wore diapers so she wouldn't have to stop to use the bathroom on her trip. Once that information came out, the media went wild.
Just 7 months earlier, Lisa Nowak was flying high as a national hero. Now she holds the title of being the first active duty astronaut to be charged with a felony.
People were absolutely shocked that an astronaut would do something like this. She was revered, and yet she had this horrible fall from grace in such a dreadful, petty way. To do something this horrendous for a man? Really?
Billy O admitted that he and Lisa had an affair while they were still married to other people. But then he said that she was his best friend and that she had a key to his apartment. It was like he couldn't comprehend that maybe his actions had something to do with driving her over the edge.
I was the circuit judge that was assigned to the case. She was in court in front of me a lot. The original criminal charges, as I recall, attempted first-degree murder, attempted kidnapping, attempted aggravated battery. They charged her with a lot of serious charges that could have put her away for life. But as the case played out, they couldn't prove these things.
In November 2009, nearly 3 years after the attack, Lisa Nowak accepts an agreement and pleads guilty to burglary and battery.
They dropped all the serious charges and let Lisa plead a burglary to a conveyance, which means she stuck her hand through a car window.
I remember being in court and watching Lisa Nowak apologize for what she'd done. Her shoulders are shaking, she's crying, she can hardly get the words out because she knew at that moment she had thrown everything away. Watching her in court, she didn't look like the astronaut who had it all together. She looked like a woman who had made a really bad decision.
She is sentenced to probation for 1 year. Her 2 days in jail considered time served, and told to steer clear of both Colleen Shipman and Bill O'Flynn.
And I didn't sentence her any differently than I would have sentenced anybody else with a totally clean record who stuck their hand through the window of a car. I put her on probation for a year, and that was it.
Then, Lisa receives an other-than-honorable discharge from the Navy, and both she and Billy O are kicked out of the space program. Billy O and Colleen marry in 2010 and move to Alaska, while Lisa Nowak vanishes from the public eye. According to People magazine, she lives in a modest home in Texas, works in the public sector, and is trying to put the past behind her.
The Lisa Nowak case reminded everybody that you can work your whole life for something, and then one act of obsession can ruin it all.
She did something stupid for a man, and she messed up lives, and she shattered careers, all for a man.
The Lisa Nowak story, of course, is interesting and it's salacious because of the diapers, because of the love triangle, but it's also very sad because we saw a woman who self-destructed on the public stage, and the heights that she had reached meant nothing by the time this was all said and done.